Wowzer, wowzer, wowzer! What a huge wait it was for this Superman indeed. We all pre-ordered this guy what seems like ages ago. And as is the custom with Mezco figures, you sort of start to wonder whether or not that which you have put your deposit down on is actually going to ever be released or remain forever in action figure limbo. But then, not long ago, we all started getting these emails from Mezco that were like, dudes, we're gonna start processing your orders soon, and then we're gonna ship soups out to you. This is one of the ones that comes in the cookie tin, and I like the cookie tin packaging. The artwork on the front and all around is very good, very basic, and not what I expected. I mean, who doesn't like Jose Luis Garcia Lopez's artwork? However, I kind of would have expected artwork from John Byrne all over this tin, considering the figure really looks kind of like John Byrne's artwork. And out of the package, we really get a good idea, seeing all of the accessories and everything that came in the tin together, how much this guy comes with. So let's take a better look at everything quickly before we move on to the figure. We have the Black Mercy, which in my opinion is probably the best Black Mercy that's been made for us collectors and fans to date. Fantastic looking, has bendy arms that can wrap around the character that you're deciding to stick him to, in this case Superman. The punch effects, they're kind of like a clearish, bluish plastic. They open up so they're not just tight. There is room for the fist to fit in there properly and not squish it. The Phantom Zone projector, this is really neat. I don't think we've ever been given a Phantom Zone projector before. I really don't think so. I think that this is the first action figure-based Phantom Zone projector, at least that I've seen. We have a Starro Sporg, and this is actually the way that I prefer it. I know that they stick to the chest now, which is weird. That's what the Black Mercy is supposed to do, but I prefer it when the Starro Spores stick to the face. We have the Kryptonite pedestals, and this is such a fun accessory, having the yellow, white, blue, red, and of course the classic green kryptonite. Of course we have a big angry heat vision blast that fits into this head sculpt. Oh, that is creepy before you put the heat vision in there. And then we have one that is smaller. It's more like a more controlled heat vision blast that fits into the one in the same creepy head sculpt. We also have with us as an accessory, the same as the first Superman that Mezco produced, these bullet ricochets that are bouncing off Superman's chest. And of course we've got a bunch of extra hands and heads. We have flying hands, we have gripping hands, we have relaxed hands, we have sort of, angry, pensive hands. And for the head sculpts, we have your basic straight face. We have the smirking, cheeky face. We have the stern, serious, I'm actually kind of annoyed face. We have the I'm beginning to get even more annoyed face with the open mouth and you can see the teeth. And then we have the, oh no, he's all fired up and he's about to use heat vision and do something that I think a lot of us would regret, but because he's Superman, he has more self-control. Of course, he comes with the one that I showed previously with the creepy hole in the face for inserting the heat vision. And finally, we have the head sculpt that the eyes light up for. If you ask me, these are the best Superman head sculpts that have probably ever been manufactured to date. I like them very much, and little side note here, they actually fit on McFarlane Toys Superman figures too. Just saying, you can do head swaps here. It's a thing. It works. And of course, Superman comes with a flight stand and base, and there's a bag for putting all of your stuff into. Okay, and now let's move on to the figure. What I do like, and also what I don't like. Now the figure, from toe to head, of course, is beautifully colored and fantastically created. I love the boots. The tone of blue used on his one-piece bodysuit is amazing. I like the fact that you have the trunks and the belt combo, and you have the S. Okay, well that's the sticking point for some of you and me. Stop! This is what we were shown right here. And this is what I got! It looks like a t-shirt. Why does he have the black lines? He doesn't need the black lines. I get it, it's all photoshopped, it was concept art, but it was the concept art that sold us on the figure. And I know that companies can kind of get out of hot water by saying final product may differ from that which we're looking at, but this is, I mean, come on. Also, I just think that the S logo is a little bit too small. I think that that should probably be bigger and wider. Like, even if it doesn't come down any further, it probably should have ended about there, where the edges of my thumbs are. That probably should have been where the points went to. As far as the overall scale of this figure with itself, as in the scale of the head with the rest of the body, I tend to think that Mezco 1/12 collective figures have a head that is always just a little bit too big for the body. I tend to look at these figures and think that this is more of a 7-inch scale action figure head on top of a 6-inch scale action figure body. I will say I definitely really like these boots. These are probably the best Mezco 1/12 collective Superman boots that I've seen, and I do think it's really fun that they've included the tread on the bottom of the boots. I really like what they've done with the trunks area of this Superman, and I kind of wish that they had done this in the first place, giving him, you know, actual trunks rather than those weird painted on ones from their first attempt at a Superman. These ones look fine. It's also kind of cool that the cape is tucked into the neckline of this Superman figure's uniform, which is accurate, and it's not tucked in all the way around like it was with, I believe, Christopher Reeve and how it's been depicted before. It always was just supposed to be tucked in the front, so they did that right. They got that part correct. However, one thing that they probably could have done a little better is where they've tucked this cape into his shirt here. You can see right there that big thick piece sticking up. That's the cape. That's the wired cape. And whenever you push it back behind him, it always pops forward. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to release some of the thread of this suit and then glue the cape properly to his back here, and then, you know, re-sew the suit so that you don't have these chunks here right at his shoulders here, because that doesn't look quite right either. Also, this Superman is the owner of a fabulous wired cape, which is nice. Some people hate the wired capes, some people like the wired capes. The more, you know, I review figures with wired capes, the more I like them. I don't think you need to have them, but it is good with a high-end figure like this to have the wired cape. Got a nice big yellow S on the back. I like that very much. That pops, that stands out. It seems to me here that Supes has the right amount of cape ending right behind the knees here. That's a very classic length for Superman here, behind the knees, top of the boots for a cape length, so I like that as well, and the color looks really awesome, and the fabric for this cape is really nice. This is a really nice fabric. And just before we have a little look-see-do at this figure's articulation, we should probably do some comparisons. First off, clearly you're looking at the Mezco 1/12 Collective Superman here with Darkseid, also Mezco 1/12 Collective. Not a bad scaling pair. And then next we have the pretend Mezco 1/12 Collective Kingdom Come Superman alongside the Christopher Reeve version of Superman from Mezco 1/12 Collective. Here's an image of Superman in between two 7-inch scale Superman figures. Admittedly, the one on the left is a custom, but the point is they're both 7-inch scale bodies. And as you can see, those head sculpts fit just swimmingly on top. And just for funsies, I brought in two Mafex Superman figures, Hush on the left and Dark Knight Returns on the right. Man, what an awesome time to be a Superman collector. And finally, here he is on Class Picture Day with the rest of the Mezco 1/12 Collective Justice League. Anywho, now is the time where we check out the articulation and see exactly what Soupy here will and will not be capable of in the posing arena. For those of you who are into action figure photography, well, the head, as we all know, is on a ball peg. All of them are. And these bad boys right here are going to get a crazy range of motion. That is a fantastic range of motion. The neck itself really... yeah, I was going to say it's really not all that useful, but you got to push it in the right way. And then you get... Whoa. Look at that. That's actually pretty good. Combine that with what he has here with a full range torso and his abdomen, and you got great flight range. He can see wherever he's going. He won't bump into any seagulls. Of course, with all Mezco 1/12 collectives, you have a hinge here in the arm that, oh, does this one butterfly at all? I'm curious, because some of them do. This one's not doing anything like that. If it does, I can't get it to do it. We have a bicep swivel. We have double jointed elbows that even with the suit, still get a pretty darn good crunchable range there. And of course, as you can see, we have the rounded hinge in the wrist. It's basically your standard fare articulation for a Mezco 1/12 collective. The legs are really, really well articulated. I like these. These are fantastic. And of course, you have that thigh cut up here, which gives a great amount of rotational articulation at the top. You've got Mr. Double Jointed Knee here, who is accompanied by other Mr. Double Jointed Knee here, so it can look like he's sitting on the toilet or on a rock or something. And you've got, do we have boot articulation? I wouldn't call that boot articulation. If it's wiggly, that's, you know, in spite of the fact that it's not really supposed to be articulation. And of course, we have the rounded ball joint that holds the foot on and gives, that's an okay range. That could be better, but that's all right. That's passable. That's acceptable. So what do I think about the Mezco 1/12 Collective Superman Man of Steel Edition action figure? Well, in spite of the things that I mentioned that I thought were less than optimal, the suit just getting a weensy bit fuzzy in some areas, and the emblem just being like a basic t-shirt, I think that this is a far better attempt at a Superman. It's a far better Superman figure in general. It's probably one of the best Superman figures ever made, in my opinion, and it has way more going for it than it has against it. And those accessories, man, there are so many of them, and they're the kind of accessories that I think us fans really wanted. Who doesn't want a Phantom Zone projector and a Black Mercy and 5 different kinds of kryptonite in their little display pedestal, as well as 2 different heat vision blasts, a bunch of bullets that stick to his chest, some punchy effects, and of course, and a bunch of extra heads and hands. I mean, I don't think any action figure anytime, any place ever has had 7 interchangeable heads. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've just never seen that. That's awesome. This Superman figure pretty much has it all, and I really, really like it. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Hopefully you found this video to be an interesting, useful waste of time, and I will see you with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care.